And hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Words I Choose to Live By. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined today by Mary Ellen Saganovich, Melissa Banks, and Darius Ewing. Glad you all could be with us as we're discussing week number 16, if you can believe it, from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. There it is there. We're going to be connecting here in just a bit to discuss a very important topic, and that is that of purpose. But before we get into that, how's everybody doing today?
Doing wonderful.
Great.
Good deal. Good deal. Want to also welcome in our radio audience tuning in on Max WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. Glad that you all could be with us. And as we get ready to get started here, Darius, Melissa, and Mariella mentioned it earlier. Want to say congratulations to you again on being one of this year's Mississippi Success honorees, along with Leslie Rorick Scott, Felicia Brookins, A. Shane Eder, and Valencia Beeman. You all are doing some amazing things, man, and we were glad to be able to honor you all over this past weekend. And we're going to go ahead from my book, Words I Choose to Live. We're going to go ahead and connect with our Amazon audience, and we will get started.
Thanks, man. Thanks again. Thanks.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Do you guys have a delay?
Yes.
I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, you are? Okay. Okay. hey, Darius, because I thanked you like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Right. I was like, what happened?
Yeah. All right.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, here we go, everybody. And we are live on Amazon Live for this week's episode of Words I Choose to Live By. I'm Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us. I'm also joined by my good friends, Mary Ellen Saganovich, Melissa Banks, and Darius Ewing. We're discussing week number 16 today from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. You all can see it there. We're going to feature it in the carousel. Always, as we always say, if you all are not doing so already, invite you all to be able to follow us on Amazon Live. You can hover over in this corner to be able to see the follow button if you're joining us on your desktop or laptop. If you're on your mobile device, you'll notice it is below. First of all, everybody, I really appreciate you all being with us. We're going to be maybe having a special guest a little bit later. I will keep my eye out for that. And I think she is there with us. I see her there with us. We're going to be talking to Tina Siemens a little bit later in our broadcast. I'm so excited about that. But let's start off by reading this week's message. And for those who have their copy of the book, it's on page 46, A Word I Choose to Live By. You have purpose. You are stronger than your biggest challenge and more powerful than the fiercest storm. With the Creator's help, believe that nothing can come your way this week that can stop you from achieving your goals. I think this is so appropriate for us today, as everything that's been happening in the world today. I know for myself, I have to remind myself of this every day. Well, really throughout the day, that no matter what comes my way, that I can do this. If I keep moving forward, I can be able to persevere. Marilyn, I want to ask you, how has that helped you to know that in spite of the challenge, that you're able to look at something bigger than the challenge?
Well, you have purpose, Cyrus, is such a huge truth because so many people assume that their purpose is tied with their paying job, their work job. And it's really great when you can get paid for your purpose. And a lot of people retire and then they lose their sense of purpose. Your purpose is not what you do. Your purpose is who you are at your core, at your very soul. And your true purpose is tied to your passion, what God wants you to accomplish while you're here on this earthly plane. And the storms coming into your life make you stronger, and you learn through these challenges and these storms. And those powerful words in this passage for me, Cyrus, are with the Creator's help. Because I know from all the things that I have survived, with God's help, I have overcome them. And with God's help, all things are possible. Now, in truth, taking responsibility unleashes true healing. On page 38, one of the truths says, take a leap of faith to accomplish anything you set out to do. Now, taking that leap of faith is a powerful act that allows God to keep you strong through these big challenging storms so you can complete your earthly purpose and achieve your goals.
Love that. Love that. Such a great point there, Mary Ellen. And I think that's something all of us can be able to draw something from. Melissa, what about for you? How has it helped you to know that you're not having to go through life and challenges by yourself?
Wow. It gets me up in the morning to know that fact. It gets me through the day to know that fact. One of the most important things about what you said here for me was to believe. See, for a long time, everything was based on what I could see. Everything was based on what I could do. People, you were told that find your gift and your purpose is what you do. But I had to learn through a process that believing in myself and my purpose is what was placed in me. It's what God gave me. I didn't have to work for it. I didn't have to beg for it. I didn't have to cry for it. It was already in me. I just had to believe in it. And each day, each thing I go through, and I'm gonna tell you, over the last year and a half, even over my life, I've faced a lot of difficult things, but specifically, I learned to lean into that belief, lean into my faith and my purpose. See, once you recognize that your purpose is there for you and you believe in it, then you can give it back. But it doesn't stop there. And y'all know how I talk about intentions all the time, because it doesn't stop there, because something negative or something bad could happen, or a really big disappointment can happen, and it can set you all the way back to where you first started, where you stopped believing. And when you don't believe, when that conversation going on in your head is not believing in who you are and your purpose, you can get derailed. So every single day when I have my meditation and my prayer in the morning, I pray about that to remain intentional on what my purpose is. The other stuff will come and the other stuff will work out as I keep my eye on my purpose and believing that God has given me something that the world needs, and I just have to do my part to make sure they get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. Kathy Hosenfeld, we appreciate you joining us on the Amazon Live. Kathy says, I like Melissa's point, lean into it. One of the things that you all have noticed if you're joining us on the Amazon Live side as well is that we are able to show you guys each one of our hosts' books as we are going through. And if you guys do click over in this corner, as I mentioned earlier, you'll be able to follow us here as Kathy is doing, so she knows when we're able to go live. Below us, if you're on your desktop or laptop, you'll notice the different books for our guests. So as our co-hosts are talking, you'll notice their books there being recognized there. So Darius, I want to go to you then with the same question. How has it helped you? Because you also have had your own challenges, as we all have. How has it helped you to know that you don't have to go through these by yourself?
I had to really just rely on what I've been relying on, and that's past experiences. I know that the creator of the situation brought me out of my past experiences. So whatever I'm going through currently, I have that mindset. I know that I'm going to come out. I know that it's going to be all right. You have to understand that the process has a purpose. You have to understand that. And once you understand that the process has a purpose, you will then begin to understand your purpose. And you will start to understand why you are going through these certain steps, why certain things are happening. And that's the time that you really have to lean and depend on the creator and the master, because your friends' answers and suggestions won't work in that situation.
Yeah, such a great point and such a great reminder. And for myself, and I capitalize this in this particular message, with the creator's help, believe that nothing can come your way this week that can stop you from achieving your goals. A lot of times we look at some things and think, okay, yeah, I can handle that. But then when something else comes, like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. But I think that is, for me, the idea of being unstoppable. And to me, that's not about ego, but it's about realizing the power of God and realizing that, I mean, when he says he can do anything, that there's nothing that is left out of that equation. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, you are joining us for Words I Choose to Live By on the various platforms, including on the radio, WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com in Mississippi. I'm Cyrus Webb. We are discussing week number 16 from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. You all see it there, and I'm going to highlight it in the carousel for those joining us online. And it is all about purpose. You have purpose. We also have a special guest that's going to be joining us here in just a couple of moments, author Tina Siemens, discussing her book Seminole, and letting you all know how to stay connected with her. So, Marilyn, I want to go back around then to you. What would you say to our audience then about the importance of realizing, in spite of the challenge in front of them, why they still have hope or should have hope?
Well, you should always have hope, because without hope, you definitely lose almost everything. You lose your faith, you lose everything. Hope builds you up, and your purpose is connected to your knowings. Look inside your knowings, not your beliefs, because your beliefs always include a doubt. And your beliefs are tied to your ego system, but your knowings are connected with God, was connected with your Holy Spirit, and will always give you that hope to keep going. And I know there are hard days, and you have to get hope that you will get through those hard days and get on to the next day, and just look at your purpose and say, okay, if you're like, I thought at first my purpose was teaching school. And then after that, I thought, well, what should I do? And God directed me towards writing and speaking, which I'd never thought I'd be doing. And, you have to keep going and searching and asking God, what can I do next? What can I do next for you to fulfill my mission on this earthly plane, to make the world a little bit better?
And Darius, what about for you? What would you say to our audience about the importance of realizing what they can do and what is possible for them?
Man, hold on. Just hold on. The same formula that you use to get through the first storm is the same formula that you need to use to get through this storm and to get through to the next task. I had to realize that going through processes a lot of times is not for me, but it's for other people to see, or for other people to witness God's work through me. And so you have to look at it as that, whatever your purpose is, you were built and designed to work in it. And he would never give you the vision without preparing you or equipping you to carry out the vision. So it's going to be tough, but yes, hold on. There is hope. Hold on. The process is tough, but you're going to make it, and you have no other choice but to make it.
There we go. Great words. Melissa, what about you? What would you say to our audience about the importance of realizing that, that nothing that they face has to be the thing that they can't do, that with faith, they can do anything?
Well, I would say, I had this conversation earlier today, and it wasn't about business or career or even purpose. It was about believing that God has your best interest, believing that it's still going to be working out for your good, even on the day that's a bad day. This person is dealing with some illnesses, and she thought she was on her way to healing. And the last couple of days have been really hard days. These days were really hard and began to make her question her faith, to lose hope. And I said to her, without hope, you cannot have faith. And that faith has to be there even on the difficult days, even on the days that look really hard, that this is just going to take me out. When you lean into, and I'll say that again, your faith, it gives you the hope that you need. So even in my business, even in my world where things are up and down sometimes, even when a lot of negative are coming my way, and even though I am human, even though I know my purpose is to encourage and push individuals to go past where they believe they would normally stop, even I have those days that I have to talk to myself, and I have to say those things to myself, because I believe that God does not ask anything of me that he hasn't already given me. So I have to lean into that, believe that as I get through those moments that makes me want to sit down, those moments that make me want to cry, and cry through them if necessary, and then move on and accomplish what he has set for me to accomplish. The key, and you said it earlier, is to be unstoppable. And once you have that mindset, it has nothing to do with ego. It has to do in believing in your destiny.
That's a great point. And I think it's such a great reminder for all of our audience. And I hope our audience, as we're thinking about this week's message, that you really do remember one important thing. Even though it may look differently, all of us have a purpose. Your first thing to realize what that purpose is and what God has given you to be able to do. It's now time for that time on our program where she's already on screen with us. A very special guest is joining us today.
Hey, Tina.
Hey. She is the author of the book Seminole, Some People Never Give Up. Glad to call her my friend as well. Tina, great to see you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. What a privilege. I knew that my refresh button probably got an indent this morning because I just, 2 weeks ago, I tried getting on, and technology and me are not the best buddies, but in Jesus' name, it worked this morning. So thank you for having me. So wonderful to finally see all of you face to face, and may God bless this hour.
Good.
Thank you. Same to you. Tina, a lot for us to be able to cover. I'm going to turn it over to our first co-host, Darius Ewing. He has the first series of questions for you, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, how you doing today?
I am blessed. How about you, sir?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm great. I am great. So, at what point in life, or at what point in your journey did you realize that you were a true warrior?
I think it started at when I was age 9. When we first immigrated to West Texas, I was born in Chihuahua, Mexico. So at 9, I took my first altar call. And in that moment, when the pastor told me that 1 John 1 verse 9, he's already completed everything. All I had to do is confess and then believe. And in that moment, I think something triggered that I knew that God had a purpose for me in my life. And it's been an amazing journey.
Oh, wow. Well, look, that's the only question I had for you this morning.
All glory goes to God in that question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm passing it to Mary Ellen, I think.
Okay.
Great.
I'm here. Teresa, first of all, I love your book. The descriptions of the characters, the places, the events. And as I read Seminole, in that first chapter just grabs you. And I didn't see it ending that way. And I'm not going to spoil it for readers. Get the book and read it. And when it ended that way, I just had to read the rest of the book. And I taught middle school English. And if you are a middle school educator out there and you need characters to do plot studies or the description of characters, please get Seminole. It is a wonderful book. First question for you is, one of the main messages throughout Seminole is perseverance through faith.
Yes.
As a child going through these trials, did you ever think in the back of your mind, I know you didn't voice them, but in the back of your mind, did you ever doubt? Did you ever say, God, why do we have to move again? Or why do we have to go back to these hot fields? Or why me? Or why us?
Yes, I think one of those times was when I was sitting in the bathtub with just blisters on my neck and the red West Texas sand on those blisters. And I just did not feel, how will I be able to wash myself? And when my father knocks on the door and says, he heard me crying in the tub, and he says, what's wrong, Tina? And I said, I just can't wash my neck. It's too blistered, too burnt. And in that moment, it felt like things were just not going well. But ice cream helped all of that. Always. Yes. So often we go through very difficult times, but then it can be the smallest thing that brings us joy. And I think if we go to that joy spot, then the hardship goes away. So I think that was one of the first, one of those times where I thought, is this really all that we're going to do, is just work, work, work? And but it didn't stay that way. We persevered. We kept on in the journey.
Right. My second question is, Seminole also teaches a deep level of respect for all people and all cultures through nonviolent measures, which is such great advice. What advice would you give to parents who need to teach these lessons or these blessings of respecting others to their children today?
I would say it starts before school starts, before they're in school. It starts by living by example. Children
Right.
are like a sponge. If they see, they will imitate. Monkeys do, monkey see, monkey do, right? And children are like that. If they are demonstrated by their parents, by their grandparents, or whoever influences a child, it starts at a young age. And that continues. If they will train up a child in the way that they should go, when they get old, they will not return from it. So it is in the younger years. And I think that is the vital point, that so many parents, because of the age we live in, technology and the children are not interacting so much with adults. They're on their gadgets, and the gadgets, they are influencing, but only one voice. And if they're in a family dynamic, that is where it starts.
Yes, thank you so much. My last question has to do with some of the messages in your book. Now, these are some of the messages that I picked up. I know there are tons more, but one of them, I'm going to go over a few of them. Your dad said, "Whatever happens, I will stick to the truth." I think that was from your father.
Yes. And
you had appreciation for the little things. And I love the next one. "A shared joy is a double joy." That is so powerful. "Unwrap the gift of knowledge and salvation. Accept it as we sow God's words and accept Jesus." Those are just a few of the messages that I picked up. Do you have a favorite one of these messages that you hope that all of your readers will hear?
I think living by faith, accepting that we cannot earn salvation. We cannot even earn any. Like here on earth, we might be able to earn acceptance, but salvation is a free gift. And so that is my goal in the book, to just show people that it is a gift. Just accept it. And I think that is sometimes hard for us. We feel like we need to, as y'all were speaking before I came on, we feel like we need to work for something, but we don't. In faith, we can accept it, and it's the best gift a human being will ever receive.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell everybody too, if you're reading it on Kindle, please go to the principal characters. And I did a screenshot, because what I was doing is I would read and I would go back and forth.
Yes.
So I did a screenshot and I printed them out, and then I could have them with me. So I'm definitely looking forward to your next book. Seminole is a great read. I am so grateful for your friendship and all of the joys that we experienced together. Thank you so much.
Amen. Thank you, Mary Ellen.
Melissa.
Wow, that was wonderful. Hi, it's so nice to finally meet you.
It's wonderful meeting you.
I've been excited to have this moment to have a conversation with you. I got my Seminole, and I'm going to tell you what was so powerful for me before I ever opened it was the cover. The cover just speaks volumes and is so powerful. Just the byline, "Some people never give up." Who would pick this book up and not know what that means? That means something to every single person who reads this. It was just powerful for me at the beginning. So something you said, though, that I heard you say was everyone has a story, which I totally agree with that. But everyone doesn't have the courage to speak their story or write their story for the world to hear. How did you know that this was what you needed to do? And how did you find the strength to put your story in a written form?
It didn't start that way. For 20 years, I was all over the globe trying to find our story because all of the different migrations. And so it started out as me just wanting to have a written record for my grandchildren, my children and my grandchildren. But it ballooned from there. When I started looking into having it published, I just thought, well, it's still really just for my children and grandchildren and future generations. But when it was published and I had my book launch, I realized this is not just a story. And as you were mentioning the cover, everyone on earth has a different hat, wears a different hat. We may wear a hat that you and I may never wear, but somebody else out there wears a hat that nobody else does, and they have the opportunity to share. So I was so grateful when the thought came to me that it could be a book that I could share with the world. So it's just been an amazing journey.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for stepping out there and sharing that. It's such a powerful book. How has this journey been for you, the whole experience of putting the book out there and speaking publicly, going live, and just sharing your story and hearing how it's impacted so many other people? How has the journey been for you?
Surreal, because if I get an email from across the globe, somebody that has read my book and has been blessed by it, I'm so humbled, because it's not Tina Siemens. It's all God. And I am just so grateful to have the experience of hearing that other people are encouraged by it. And for somebody like y'all, you have the platforms, and for you to help me get the word out, it's a gift that I will never be able to repay, but God can. And so for me, the journey will continue, because I'm still, as y'all know, technology's challenged and speaking challenged, because English is not my first language. So I stumble over a lot of words, but I'm grateful for the opportunity, and just pray that it will truly be a blessing.
Well, thank you for that. One final question, and I'll hand it over to Cyrus, is you talk about faith, and the book is based on faith and being able to keep going, even when it looks really hard, even when things don't work out, even when it feels horrible at the moment, but it's the faith that keeps you going. So how do you do that? How do you lean into the faith? Share with our audience how, even when things are going badly for them, how they can use their faith and lean into their faith to keep going.
I often think of Moses when he was with the children of Israel right in front of the Red Sea. God told him to step in by faith, and the sea would part. And faith is the substance of things that we don't see, right? So it is by faith stepping in and knowing that the waters will part. We have to do our part. We can't just sit down and say, God, now you do the work. He uses me and you to open the Red Sea, but it requires that faith to take that first step. And you might have a wet foot, but know that as you walk on, the ground is prepared for you. And so for me, that is just such a challenge on a daily basis, and also a comfort to know that God is already there where He's leading me.
Wow, that is so comforting. Thank you again for being here, for sharing your story and encouraging us to just keep going no matter what. And I will hand it over to Cyrus.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks to all of you. Tina, it's great to be able to see you again, my friend. And I have highlighted right now on Amazon your book, Seminal, Some People Never Give Up. I want to talk to you about something in relation to our theme for this show, Tina, for today, and that is about purpose. Because I thought about it as Darius, Mary Ellen, and Melissa were talking with you. You know, so much of your life is about family and faith. I want to ask you about belief in self, because it's something that is difficult for a lot of people. I've struggled with it myself. When did you start believing in yourself enough to realize what you could do?
Mm-hmm. Cyrus, that's an ongoing battle. I think when I started the process of when I first got my first sample book, I thought, okay, I can do this. It's tangible items sometimes that you hold that really build that faith. And but I, like I said to Darius, that my journey started at a very young age, and I think that I always knew that God had a purpose for me, and that I needed to be in that position. But I'm just now getting my feet wet and really fulfilling that mission, and I'm just overexcited to know that what the future will hold. That I've got my book in front of me, and there's only a handful of interviews, so I know that there's many more to come, and I'm excited to know that there will be other opportunities that will cross my path.
The other thing I want to ask you about, Tina, and it goes in relation to that, but also what I've been able to see you do just in the past 90 days. Because one of the things one of my friends said to me was, if you have fear, do it afraid. I try to live by that every day. Life scares me. People may not believe that, but as an introvert, people I think it's easy for me to get on camera and do this or do that or travel. It's really not. But I do it because I know it's part of my mission to do it. And I find joy in the doing. When you went live and you were sharing a bit of your story, I could not tell you how, and I sent you a message, but I could not tell you how proud I was of you, because I know how that's doing it afraid for you. I want you to speak to our audience, though, Tina, the reason why I bring that up, about why they should not let the fear stop them. Because you've mentioned here in this conversation a couple of times about technology that may not be your best friend, and yet you're still using it. So what would you say to our audience out there about the importance of, even if they're faced with a challenge, even if something seems scary, to still go and do it and know that God will lead them through it?
There's a little church congregation that I visited in Canada years ago, and it was testimony time, and one lady just stood up and she said, I don't have anything to say. I just stood up because Satan was on my lap holding me down, and I had to shake him off. And so often that is so true for every one of us. We have to just get up, and even if in that moment we may not make huge headway leaps toward our goal, but just proving to ourselves and to others that we can, and Satan will not hold us down. And I think that is just on a daily motivation to myself, and when I speak to others, is just do it, even though it is. And I think that's why the subtitle was given to me. Some people never give up, and oh my goodness, I never thought that title of my own book would push me so many times where I would just feel like I want to give up. But no, I have written it publicly, and thousands of people have this book in their hands. And for me to give up now, I can't. So that pushes me forward.
Well, Tina, I'm proud of you. I love you. So excited that there are people like yourself that are willing to do it afraid and to share their own story. And I think that is the big thing for all of us to be able to learn. Again, everyone, Tina Siemens is our guest today on Words I Choose to Live By. Tina, let them know how they can stay connected with you.
Well, I'm on Amazon, as well as you can reach out to me in Goodreads, and also on Twitter at Seminole the Book, or seminolethebook@gmail.com. And then on Amazon, it's available in Kindle and also in audio version. So go check out or reach out to me personally at Seminole the Book.
Right. Well, this has been another great episode of Words I Choose to Live By. So glad, Tina, that you could be a part of our program. I'm going to go around the table, though, and let our co-hosts, let our audience know how they can stay connected with them. Mary Ellen, I'm going to start with you.
Well, you can always stay connected with me through AskMaryEllen.com, where there are quick links over to Amazon, to Healing Words, Life Lessons to Inspire, or Truth, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. And you can go to my YouTube channel at Ask Mary Ellen. You can see my Miracles with Mary Ellen segment that I just posted this morning. It's on societal teachings and how we need to change those societal teachings. So stay connected with me through AskMaryEllen.com.
All right. Melissa, you are up.
Well, what a wonderful show. Excited to be here. You can stay connected with me at themelissabanks.com. You can get our book, Dream by Design, the devotional. The link is right there. It takes you right to Amazon. You can also listen to some of our shows on from Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, hearing some amazing stories from some amazing women sharing their journey with you to be encouraged. That's at themelissabanks.com.
Awesome. And last but certainly and not least, Darius, what about you? How can they stay connected with you, man?
Hey, y'all can stay connected with me on Facebook. That's Darius Ewing. And you can stay on my other page. It's Darius L. Ewing. Instagram, Mr. Ewing 1914. Also is on Amazon. And that's it.
He has to have us in suspense. Tina, again, thank you so much. You all know, you all can find me. I'm pretty much wherever you guys are. Cyrus
Thank
Webb.
you.
Thankfully, there's only one of us, so you can be able to find me on social media. But definitely, you can get my book, Words I Choose to Live By. You all can see it there on Amazon.com. Again, Tina, thank you so much for being our guest today on Words I Choose to Live By. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thanks for having me, and it was so wonderful to meet all of you. Have a wonderful day.
You as well. And we thank all of you for tuning into this episode of Words I Choose to Live By. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll see you again next week. Take care.
Bye-bye.